Good evening, welcome to Sunday Night Satsang with myself, John Homewood.
Michelle McLuhan. Hi everybody.
Good evening. Please, as you join, won't you just type up in the comments box who you are, where you're watching from. We like to know because we don't always see the faces come up, but if you type it up, then we know who's watching, because we don't like to just talk to a blank screen. We like to know that we're talking to real live humans, and by typing it up we get to know who's watching. So thank you for doing that, and we also love getting the hearts. So give us some hearts. Thank you. And tonight we're coming to you from a live audience. We've got a live audience. Yeah, we've got our neighbor here who's joined us tonight. So welcome. We're just going to wait for a few people to join us, and then we shall start. The format, as usual, is a centering meditation to start with. Is there anything from an astrological point of view we need to be aware of?
We've just got through an eclipse and we've all survived, so that was good.
Okay. And then tonight we're going to be talking about people pleasing. I wonder if any of you are people pleasers.
Nah.
So we're going to be looking at that. Why do we do it? Why do we go out of our way to please people sometimes? So we're going to be looking at that. And then we're going to end the evening with one of Michelle's beautiful visualization meditations. So we shall do that. And the purpose of a satsang is, the meaning of the word satsang is just gathering of wisdom. But the purpose is actually to center ourselves before we start a new week, to anchor this energy of peace and centeredness and presence in our awareness before we start the new week. And the other major work, in inverted commas, of this that we do is to become more open for light and love and peace to enter this world. So this work is for ourselves, yes it is, but it's also for the greater community around us, because as we become more centered, more present, more peaceful, so we become more effective in transmitting this energy of the new earth into the world that we meet on a moment-to-moment basis. So it's important work that we're doing here. So who have we got with us tonight?
Hello, Hartmut and Mariki.
Hi, all the way from Somerset West.
And Merlene I saw, and Diane.
Hi Diane.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. Good.
Yeah, and if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, and if you haven't joined Journeys of Awakening, our WhatsApp page, you can do that. The Journeys of Awakening WhatsApp link is on our website, which is Journeys, plural, there are all many journeys, journeysofawakening.com. So you can go on there and you can join our Journeys WhatsApp group if you're not there already. And also you can have a look at the different products that we have on offer. We have at the moment our Inner Space group, which we'll talk a little bit about later.
I think we will, yes, because we start on Tuesday.
And what are we doing this month?
Relationships.
Why are we doing relationships?
Well, it's lightly themed on astrology, and astrology right now is Sun's in Libra, and Libra is very much about balance, harmony, peace, and relationships of all kinds, not just the intimate kind. So it's always a good subject to talk about, and we're going to be looking at it in detail in Inner Space this month.
Yeah. Hello, Viv from Bulawayo, our home country.
Yep,
we're both from Zim.
Yeah,
that's right.
Born in the same hospital, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
I think there was only one then.
Yeah, a few years apart, though. A few years apart. Yes, so just wait here.
Hi, Corinna.
Hello, Corinna.
Good to see you.
Hi. Great. Okay, so let's just settle down. Let's do the most important work, in inverted commas, of the whole evening, and that is to become present, which is our natural state. It's actually very, very easy to be present, but not for the mind, because the mind only lives in time. The mind obviously makes itself aware of past and future more predominantly than presence. And meditation is just one way of clearing the mind and becoming more present, more who we are. So we're going to clear away the human story, the human drama of the day, and become more aligned with what we call being. And we're going to just spend a bit of time being. So you might like to just settle back. You can keep your eyes open for this, or close your eyes. We always light a candle for the Satsang, and open-eyed candle meditation is quite a good idea, quite a nice thing to do, where you stare just at the flame of the candle. But we're going to gently close our eyes and just center yourselves in the here and now. The only place that's real is the present moment. And there are a few very powerful portals into the awareness of presence, one of them being the physical body. The physical body is always present. It can't time travel like the mind. The physical body is here and now. So let's just take a moment to withdraw our mind from all other times and all other places, and just become aware of this beautiful physical body that we have been gifted with. And the physical body is a miracle. The biology, the makeup, is truly a gift of the universe. They say the same way that an apple tree apples, the universe peoples. So we are a fruit of life. So let's just take a moment to honor with our full attention the miracle that is our physical body. Yes, it may have some aches and pains, some discomfort right now, but even that is by perfect design, beyond our understanding, beyond our comprehension possibly, but there is a greater order in the universe. In fact, the word cosmos means order, and we are part of the cosmos. We're not separate. So let's just take a moment to accept the physical body exactly as it is right now, exactly in the state that it is in right now. Acceptance is such a powerful tool into presence, and presence is a portal for consciousness to enter this realm. Becoming aware of the physical body and where it's seated or lying right now. Feel the sensations coming into the physical body from the chair or bed or floor. It's becoming aware of the sensations coming into the body. Possibly if you're seated, you can feel your feet on the floor, and you can feel the sensations coming into the feet. Become aware of the temperature of the room on your cheeks, on the skin of your arms. Become aware of the sensation of the air. And let's take a very deep breath of this air. Let's take a deep breath of this abundance of life. Breathe it deep down into your solar plexus, and then release it with a long breath, a long sigh out. Take another very deep breath in this time. Draw it right the way down to your toes, and then release it with a long sigh, just releasing any thoughts of the day, any emotional patterns that no longer serve you. Just release them. Take a third very deep breath in, right down to the toes and up to the top of the head at the same time, so you're filling your body like a big ball, and then just release it. Let it go, let it go, let it slide away from you. Now let's surrender the breathing, the act of breathing, to this intelligence called life. But let's keep our awareness on the breath, keeping our awareness on the tip of the nose, becoming aware of the sensation of the air coming into the nostrils and leaving the nostrils, becoming aware of any temperature change between the in and the out breath. Just becoming supremely focused on the physical sensations of the body right now. Not trying to change anything or fix anything or understand anything. Just allowing. Allow life to breathe you, uninhibited by the mind. Just in a state of relaxation. Every time you breathe out, you might like to drop more and more into the present moment, and deeper into a relaxed state, an accepting state, an allowing state. Just allowing and accepting of this present moment. We can pick up our stories of drama when we finish this evening, but right now we release them and we become supremely focused in just this precious sacred moment here and now. We become aware of any thoughts that pass through the mind, and we don't attach ourselves to them, we don't try and hold on to them or push them away. We don't resist them in any way. We just allow them to flow through our awareness like clouds on a beautiful summer's day, just drifting through the sky, realizing that we are the space through which the thoughts arise and the thoughts dissipate. We are the empty space of awareness that witnesses the thoughts, that witnesses the sensations in the physical body. And let's just use another powerful portal from the physical body that allows us to clear our mind and to be more present, more awake, more alive. And that's the gift of hearing, of listening. Just become aware of all the sounds you're aware of right now. You can hear my voice, but possibly there are other sounds, maybe even further away, fainter, that you can hear right now. Just spend a moment becoming quiet and still inside and listening, truly listening. Becoming aware, if you can, of the beating of your own heart in your eardrums. Every time the heart beats, it pushes a pressure wave through our eardrums. And if you become very quiet and very still, you may pick up that pulse. Not trying to listen, but just being this space for listening to happen. Becoming aware of any sensations in the body and not holding on to them in any way at all, but just acknowledging them and allowing them to slide away from your awareness. Becoming aware of the awareness that is aware of the sensations in the body. Become aware of where your hands are touching right now. Any sensations coming in through your fingertips. And continuing being aware of the breath through the in and out motion. And just allowing this moment to be exactly as it is. Let's feel our hearts opening to be a portal for presence, to radiate out into the world, to bring peace, to bring balance to the world and the physical, to relieve the human suffering with the power of presence. We now take a very, very deep breath in, right into the lower diaphragm, and then a long, beautiful, relaxing, surrendering breath out. And when you're ready, you may softly, gently open your eyes if you want, or you can keep them closed if you want.
Thank you, Sadly.
Thanks all those who joined when my eyes were shut. Hello, Susie.
And Shanaz, nice to see you,
Shanaz,
Shanaz.
hello. Yeah.
So tonight we're going to be talking about pleasers, people pleasers.
People pleasers.
Mm-hmm. I think there are any people pleasers in the room. How about telling us who of you see yourself as a people pleaser?
Any of you?
Anybody?
Just type up in the comments box.
Corinna's already put hers in.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody in our room with us has also just put a hand up. So people pleasing, the theme really in astrology right now, we have the sun going through the sign of Libra. Libra is the sign of the other. So we have on the astrological wheel, we have Aries on the one side, Libra on the other side. Aries is self, me, my vibration, and Libra is you, yours, and what's important to the other person. And Libra is also the sign of peace, harmony, balance, justice, fairness. And so this axis has been quite seriously activated right now. And so it's really just a discussion about how we people please, and is it working? I see some of you are saying, yes, you absolutely are a people pleaser, used to be. Okay. So we're just going to discuss this and just see what it is about people pleasing that's so common, actually.
And why do we do it?
Yeah,
and this subject goes to the very core of what we're going through as a human species right now. Mm. You know, these times that we're going through are not normal times. They are apocalyptic times. And the word apocalypse means for the veil to come down, for that which is hidden to be revealed. And what does this have to do with people pleasing? So the main essence of the veil coming down is for the illusion to be dropped and for reality to be revealed. And the core illusion which most people are addicted to is a sense of self, an identity that's based in what we do, what we have, and most importantly, what other people think of us. And that is the illusion that is being whittled away by the situations and circumstances that we currently find ourselves in. And I'm sure many of you can attest that life is quite challenging at the moment, that there's a lot of uncertainty in the world around us. And that is getting us to dig deeper into who and what we really are. There are quite a few people we've met this week who've had virtually everything stripped away from them in the material world. Mm. And, the question often is, why me, Lord? I've been a good person. Why is this happening to me? And it's not to be seen, I believe, as punishment, but rather to be seen as an opportunity to reveal that which is not being stripped away, that which is not being challenged right now. What is underneath the personality that's not being threatened right now? And the word personality is quite interesting because a lot of people want to improve their personality. They want to have a better personality. They wish their partner would have a better personality. But the word personality just means that which I blow wind through. Per is through, and son is sound, person. And we're definitely not that which we blow wind through, not at all. And yet that is the identity that a lot of people have about themselves. And this time that we're going through, this time of clearing, of endings, is very much about revealing that which is more eternal than the transitory, more eternal than the personality, more eternal than the ego. And so this question that we're looking at tonight has very much to do with that.
Yeah, so why do we people please? That's a good question, actually. And we've already established that there's a lot of them on this call. So people pleasing, really, where does it come from? Because if we're people pleasing and we're trying to feel better about ourselves if somebody else is happy with us, then we've got to look back and see the core of who we are or who we believe ourselves to be. If there's this belief that we're not good enough and that we're not worthy, we're not valuable, then we're going to be looking for that in the eyes of others, in validation from them. So that's very often one of the reasons we people please without even knowing it. That gives us a sense of self, because somebody is saying, thank you so much for doing this, that's wonderful. Or you've agreed with someone and they're very happy that you've agreed with them even if you didn't want to, because you've agreed. So that then reinforces that you're okay in their eyes. And so that's really what we want to talk about, that dynamic of your vibration, the other person's vibration. Are you able to say no, a quality no, when necessary, if necessary, or is it really, really difficult for you to do that? And I had a discussion with somebody on the group this week, a client, and she said that she's found that since she's been standing in her own sort of truth and being able to say no, people haven't liked it at all, because suddenly she's not saying no to everybody, she's not saying yes to everybody. So there's a sort of a pendulum swing that happens sometimes when you actually start to work in terms of your own true rhythm.
Yeah, that's so true. So the reason many people are people pleasers is looking for a sense of self-worth. And you must always look into what is sponsoring the action. Is it a true sense of empathy, compassion, kindness, or is it looking for self? Is it looking for a sense of worth in the doingness? And I believe there's nothing wrong with pleasing other people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And we're not trying to say tonight you must go around annoying everyone around you and not pleasing everyone. But to look deeper and find out what is the sponsoring intention or thought behind the people pleasing. That's the important part. If it is looking for an identity, that identity is part of the illusion. And I'll tell you why it's part of the illusion. Because it's transitory. It's dependent on the world being a certain way. It's dependent on people needing you for a start, needing you to help them. And that actually colors the vibration with which you are making the effort to please them, the doingness. But I believe that being kind and helping people around you, there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. It's wonderful to do even more of that as we awaken. And you may find that the world requires you to be more empathetic, more caring, more community conscious as we go through this shift. And I believe it's the only way through is by the perception that we are all one, that we are all linked. What you do for another, you're actually doing for yourself. But at the same time, to be aware of what is sponsoring this. Is it to improve my self-perception? Is it to improve my personality? Is it to improve my ego? What is the reason for me doing that? So there are two sides to this coin. The one is self-identity, and the other one is that we are going through a fundamental shift. And the fundamental shift is really from the head to the heart. And as we live more in the heart, so serving becomes more part of who and what we are. We serve because it's our nature, not because we're looking to get something. The apple tree gives us apples, not because it wants validation for being an apple tree, but because it just gives apples. That's what it does. And so as our serving comes from that centeredness of our being, as it becomes a radiance rather than a doing, that becomes more true and more authentic. But it's to watch out the other side, which is looking for validation.
There's also another side to it, because very often the pleasing comes because there's an expectation that we should, or there's an expectation that we perceive from somebody else that we should, and there's actually an inner no. So somebody asks you to do something and you find yourself with an inner no, like you really don't want to do that, but you say yes. And there's an inner no, so there's actually a resistance. So even though you're doing what you need to be doing and you're pleasing in that regard, because giving and being gracious and abundant and everything is not pleasing. That's just giving. You're just serving, you're giving, you're shining your light, you're dropping your apples on everyone, everything's wonderful. But when you're actually doing with an inner no, there's a resistance. And thereafter, there can be resentment. And thereafter, there can be drama, because then there's a whole lot of stories that happen. So you've done it, and you've done the pleasing, and now you've actually sort of said, I really shouldn't have done that because I wasn't being true to who I am and to my own rhythm. So I think that's also a balance point.
Yeah, and Jackie says there, for me it's about putting everyone else's needs above mine, my denial and avoidance of self, and that's absolutely true.
And then there can be anger there can be resentment there can be illness there can be shutting down, there can be switching off from someone, just because you've actually said yes when you actually wanted to say no. So how do we do that? I think that's a really good question as
Yeah.
well. You know,
One of the ways is to change how you see the world and the way you see yourself. Because many people see themselves as God, which is not a bad thing. I think in truth it probably is true. But not the human part, not the personality self is definitely not the divine, not the all that is. It's part of that, but it's not the all that is. So what the human self does is it thinks it's responsible for all of creation. It says that if it wasn't for me, the sun wouldn't even have risen this morning. You know, I'm just responsible for everyone, and it's trying to sort everything out. And that's because you do not know who and what the source really is. And one of the ways to see through that illusion that you are the source from the human side is to see that life is the source, and life is the giver, and life is giving to everyone equally in every moment everything that they need. Not necessarily want, but everything that they need. You can be an instrument for life. Yes, you can be. You can be a willing, open participant in the flow of life, but you're not here to fix anyone. And when you change your perception about that, when you stop seeing that the world is broken and people are broken and need you to fix them, then everything changes. You just become open and flowing in your giving, but you are quite capable of looking after your own needs in that moment as well. You're more than capable of saying, no, I've got this plan for today. I'm not going to be doing that. And that is perfectly in alignment with the flow of life, knowing that life will step in and meet their needs in another way. Life doesn't need us to do this or to do that. Life on its own will see that everything gets done. In the Tao Te Ching it says the Tao does nothing but leaves nothing undone. And so when we start to flow with that Tao energy, life becomes a dance instead of a mission to do something, to fix someone or fix something.
I think it's a very interesting comment that Jackie's just made there, that it comes from self-denial. Just trying to see, denial and avoidance of self, putting everyone else's needs above mine. I cannot tell you how often I hear that, Jackie, from so many people. And so I think that one of the things that we're looking at as we start to awaken more and as we start to drop our old baggage and our old conditioning is, where is that denial coming from, and why are you avoiding yourself? What self are you avoiding? So if we see that we are not separate, we are pure essence, why would you avoid that? Why would you deny that? Those are the questions, because if we are whole and complete and we love ourselves at a very deep fundamental level, then we're going to honor that. We're going to honor that. We're going to honor our rhythm. We're going to honor our own needs. And if we're not doing that, that's when we're going to be actually giving our power away. We're going to be denying that self. So it all goes back to, who are you really? And I think that's what John's also referring to is, what is the core essence of who you are? Because you're not the human doing. This personality is Michelle, but there's a core underneath Michelle that will be here for eternity, same as for all of us. So if we look at that core, is that not worthy of our love and our value? And why would we deny that? Because we're actually we're denying the divine.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a teaching from a teacher 2,000 years ago which confuses some people. And he said, deny thyself. And that really is quite confusing. But the self that he's pointing towards is not the real essence of who and what you are, not the eternal being, but the limited personality self. And he's saying, deny that self. In other words, see through the illusion that you are what you do, you are what you have, you are what other people think of you. See through the illusion that you are a basket with a name on, and you contain all this content of your life. You're not the content of life at all. You're not the content of your life. You are life itself. Now that self, that's the real eternal self. That cannot be denied because it's real. But the transitory self, the identity self, the personality self, that needs to be seen through. So when that teacher said, deny thyself, I'm going to suggest, I don't think I was there at the time, but I'm going to suggest that he was pointing towards a deeper truth, the false self, the egoic self, the small self, that needs to be seen through, denied. But never deny who and what you really are. And these times of awakening are an awakening to who and what we really are. We are this eternal being. And there's only one being, and we're it. And everything is that one being. It's the same way I have a hand and I have 5 appendages on the hand, but they're all part of the one body. So they appear different and distinct and separate in form, and yet they're all part of the one form. And that one form, we have the name and we call it being. So we're all aspects of the one. We're all aspects of the one. And it's not a case of denying the one, it's a case of denying the false identity that we have made up in our minds about ourselves. And the reason that's important is because if we don't do that, we're going to continue to look for outside validation, particularly and most importantly in our lives, from people that we would consider who should love us, who should be accepting of us. Those shoulds normally come from family members. And we become prisoner to those people's perceptions of ourselves, to those people's responses to what we do and what we say in the world. And I believe that is now needed to be dropped. Those false sense of self gained from relationship, gained from family members, needs to be released in order for us to find who and what we really are, the eternal self. So people pleasing can be one of the ways that the ego has designed to shore up its limited small self, to make it stronger. But in that we can use that as an opportunity to find what doesn't need that protection, what doesn't need that validation. Because there is something in all of us, it's called the being, it's called life, that doesn't need anyone else's validation at all. And then life can be lived more joyously, more abundantly, more kindly, without the need for someone else's approval of us. I don't know if that makes any sense. Who was that who said that? Corinna.
Corinna's just saying there that she's having so much fun connecting to others that she forgets her own needs. So have fun with others. That's wonderful, Corinna. You are a connector. You do connect incredibly with people. And then just look and see what it is about you that forgets your own needs. So can you bring yourself into the equation? Can you bring yourself into the circle of people that you're connecting with and giving to? It's a very good question to ask somebody. I'll ask the question, and you guys can answer it in your own way. Name 5 people that you really, really love, quickly, just in your own head, your own heart. 5 people, quick. The top 5. And then I'm going to ask you if you were on the list. And if you weren't on the list, you should be. Because you are in the circle. You're in the field. So if you are forgetting your own needs, if you're people pleasing to a point where you are feeling resentful about it, or you feel like you're overwhelmed, or you're doing too much, then perhaps you just need to be included in that group.
In other words, start to see yourself as equal, not less than or more than anyone else. You're equal, absolutely
You're
equal. So if you love someone, then you love yourself equally, because love has no preferences. That's a big one for many people to get, but as part of the awakening process is to realize that the mind is preferential. The mind, with its attachment to the 3 words that really bind us, is me, mine, and my. Anything we attach those words to are preferential and block unconditional love. On the retreats and workshops, quite often we say, does anyone ever experienced or given unconditional love? And parents will often raise their hands and say, yeah, I love my children unconditionally. And I say, well, in that very statement, you are proving that you do not love unconditionally, because you just said my children. And unconditionality has no me or mine or my in it. It's just unconditional. You just love. You just love the beingness which is in everything, equally. And you are beingness. So to love yourself equally, not more than or less than, but equally. Love has no preferences. You can just consider that for a moment.
Yeah. So therefore you need to be in the group, in whoever you're giving to. You need to be considered. And if your needs at that one particular time, as that Karina's saying there, you need to sleep, or you need to say no to something because you've been doing too much, then it's okay to do that. You're part of everything else, and we're all connected. So if you're denying yourself, then you're actually separating yourself from the all that is. Because you're saying, oh, you're all, the rest of the world is important, but I'm not, which means that you're separating yourself. So it's to know that you are connected at all times, and that means that you absolutely can say, no, thank you, but no. And that's okay. And if somebody doesn't like it, that's also okay. And you don't have to say it with an internal no, and you don't have to say it with a whole story. You don't have to say, well, no, because you did this and I did that and we did this and it shouldn't have happened, and a whole big story about it, a drama. It's just, no, I've decided not to do that. Or I need to take some time out for myself. There's nothing wrong with that. But we feel guilty when we do that, and we feel maybe scared that somebody's not going to like us as much if we say that we need time out for ourselves. And then that again reinforces the need for validation. Karina's just saying there, else I end up sick from physical exertion.
Yeah. And there's something else that starts to reveal itself as you start to know yourself as being rather than the human. And that is that you start to work with what's called synchrodestiny. You start to work with the flow. And you find that the need for no's diminishes because you're in flow. So you're not given those choice points anymore. You do not have to make them. You just find that the flow, the river, doesn't say no to the rock. It just flows around the rock without any resistance. So as you start to awaken more and more fully to who and what you really are, and who and what everyone is around you, then you find that you start to work more with flow, and having to say no becomes less important. You start to trust life, and you start to trust the intelligence of life in your life. So things start to change. You don't have to build up the boundaries and the barriers to other people anymore, because life is flowing. And while the river is contained within the banks, it doesn't in and of itself need boundaries. It doesn't create boundaries for itself. It uses the bank as a guiding for itself. And I'm going to suggest that bank, the river bank, for us is life itself. So life starts to support us in the forward momentum of our journey. And we find the need to make those judgment calls about, no, I cannot do that, and those boundaries, which the old self needed. Yes, the vulnerable self needed that, the small self needed that, the personality self needed that, but being itself doesn't need that. Anything to add to that?
I think that there's still sometimes the need to actually, it's not even the word no, it's just to bring yourself into the picture. So for example, let's just say somebody, you lend something to someone or lend them money, and they ask you for another loan, and you already lent the money. Let's just say that as an example. You're fully in your right to say, no, I'm not going to be lending you any more money. It's okay to do that without feeling guilty about doing that.
Yeah, that's the important part.
So I'm just giving that as an example of something that you could very easily just, without the drama, without the story, without getting upset about it or angry about it, you can actually decline whatever the invitation is. If somebody says, well, take some drugs, do you just say, yes, I'm going to flow with that and take the drugs? No. You're going to say, no, thank you. Not for me.
Yeah, the example which Eckhart Tolle gives is that fish. You go into a restaurant and you serve rotten fish. You don't just say yes, you say no. But the type of no that you're saying there is very, very different to the type of no where it's a self-protection no. So being a people pleaser quite often is motivated by a low sense of self-worth. And that the solution to that is to see through the self that is feeling less than, and to start to see that being is one. That's the important part. But at the same time, yes, there are times in life when one has to say no to a certain situation. No, I need my time out today. I need to rest today. Yes, that is totally in alignment, I think, with awakening, is to honor thyself, but thy real self, not thy personality self so much. So that's definitely necessary on the journey of awakening, is to be able to value this human self as much as you value any other human self.
Right.
That's the important part of it. And to be aware, as you said earlier, of any negativity behind the no. Be aware of any resistance behind the no. Be aware of any anger or resentment behind the no. Because quite often we say yes, but we say yes with resentment.
Inner no.
We do. And the inner no is that feeling, that resistance. And that is part of the blockage we have to living an abundant, joyful and fulfilled life, and an awakened life, which is the important part of our journey right now.
And it's a journey to checking in with your own rhythm and checking in with your authenticity. And very often it actually brings you closer to someone. When somebody asks you to do something, or would you like to join them, and you actually say, I'm really not feeling up to it today. And that will actually, it will foster a connection with the other person, because there's honesty and a genuine connection. It's authentic.
Yes.
As opposed to, yes, okay, I'll come, and then really not enjoying it, and they have no idea what's going on. It's actually more honest as well. So I think there's lots there, but I think the big thing is just to include yourself, as you would water a flower, water a plant. Just remember that you also have those needs, and you need to actually be taken care of, and you need to take care of yourself as you would take care of somebody else.
Yeah. Going back to what I said earlier, is love has no preference.
Yeah.
So treat yourself exactly the same way you would love that other person, the one that you love the most. Treat yourself exactly the same way, because love has no preference. And talking of treating other people, this month we have on our Inner Space group a very, very important theme this month, and that is relationships, shining light on relationships. And so often the pleasing comes from, the need to please comes from dysfunctional relationships, where we have a low self-worth or low self-esteem in that relationship, and we have a need for validation, we have a need for approval from the other person. So these are all things that we look at this month, because self-inquiry is really, really important on the road to awakening. We need to look deeper into ourselves. What motivates our actions? What motivates the very choices that we make moment to moment in the world? And relationships, I believe, are absolutely primary in the path of awakening, because relationships tend to push buttons that no other situation or circumstance could push. Particularly intimate relationships, particularly close relationships. They're the ones that push our buttons more than anything else. So if you would love to improve the depth of your relationships and the quality of your relationships, then do go to our website. If you're not already on Inner Space, I know a lot of you are, but if you're not, then go to journeysofawakening.com and have a look at Inner Space, and the details are all there. You can sign up just for the month if you wish. If you sign up for a full 12 months, you get 2 months free.
And we have 2 Zoom calls this month.
Yeah.
The one's on Tuesday, so if you are going to join us, it's a good idea to do that tomorrow. And then the next one is 2 weeks' time, but you get a lot of material to work with in the interim.
Yeah. So you get a whole lot of self-inquiry questions to look at, and it's really through self-inquiry that we peel away the illusion of self, and it's really important to do the self-inquiry work at the moment.
And we get to talk about these things, because everyone's got different perceptions, so it's good to talk about them. Yeah.
And quite often we find the conflict that comes in relationship comes from false expectations. And only by being open and honest and shining the light of awareness onto that can we dissolve those old, very dark sometimes repeating patterns that occur in relationships.
And those
So-
come often from childhood as well. So
Yeah,
those expectations, we've been taught how to treat others and
Yeah.
ourselves.
yeah,
And
that's
very
right.
often, if we come from a background where we were loved more when we were in pleasing mode, then we'll continue to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll look at those kind of things as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and just part of it, just on the treating other people and treating yourself the same way. It's just to be aware of how you talk to yourself as well. Just be aware, more mindful of how you address yourself, how you treat yourself, because this is all tied into people pleasing. It's all tied into your true sense of self, your true sense of the being that you are, the sacred being that you are, an intimate and intricate part of. So just look at that in the next few days, next few weeks. How do you speak to yourself? How do you address yourself? Do you make yourself more important than other people or less important than other people? Why put anyone up on a pedestal? Why put anyone beneath you? And when you stop doing that, you'll find yourself more authentic in life, and the people pleasing will automatically drop away. In the same way that petals of a flower automatically drop away as the fruit forms. You won't need to people please anymore. It just won't be part of your reality anymore. You won't have to say no, because it just won't be in your reality anymore. But that's part of the longer journey of awakening. Yeah. So, do you want to lead us out with a centering
I will do that.
meditation?
All right, everybody. Hope you're already comfortable, but if you aren't, make yourself even more comfy. And I'll lead you out with a short meditation. Just close your eyes. And take a deep, beautiful belly breath in. So as you breathe in, just expand your belly out and bring that breath all the way up into the top of your chest. Hold for a second and then release it all. And soften your shoulders. And allow the air to just help you to let go. Let go. Let go. Taking another deep, full breath all the way up to the top of your chest. And hold, and then blow that breath out through the mouth, like you're blowing through a straw. And then let's do that one last time. So another deep, beautiful breath in. And then out through the mouth, blowing it all out. And as you're blowing it out, you're softening the body. And you're opening the heart. You're allowing a wave of peace to just envelop you. Just imagining that you're surrounded by a beautiful wave of peace. You can choose your color. And this peace is permeating in right into the core of you and then radiating out from you, from your heart. Just connecting in with this breath, just this one breath. Full focus on just one breath. And noticing how the outer world and the outer noise and the noise of the head starts to recede when we just bring focus to one breath at a time. Notice the sounds in the room right now. Full focus on what you can hear. If you should find yourself wandering into a story about what you can hear, then just bring yourself back to just listening. As you feel the depth of the peace within you, which arises out of this stillness. Underneath the busy mind and the drama of life, there is a river of peace. There's a river of love. And you are love. So you're part of that river. You're not separate from it. So connecting with that peaceful, loving vibration that exists at the very core of your being. Allowing that to grow and expand. If you find yourself wondering, just come back to the breath and soften your body again. Allow yourself to lean back and surrender just for this moment. Our affirmation card for this evening is I choose to see peace instead of drama. So connecting in with this peace. Bringing yourself into the center of the wheel. Right in the center is a beautiful dot of light. And no matter how overwhelming your life may seem, how difficult your life may seem, how much drama may be surrounding you at any one time, knowing that you can come back to this center, to the center of peace, to the center of love, that is the true essence of who you are. Setting an intention for the week to bring yourself back to this place of peace as many times as you need to, throughout your day, throughout your night, if you wake up during the night, bringing your attention back to your breath, bringing yourself to the center of the wheel. And in so doing, becoming one with the essence of who you really are. And just spend a few more moments in silence. And now taking a deep breath in, and a lovely releasing breath out. Take another deep breath in and out. And staying in this peaceful place, gently open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And that affirmation, I choose to see peace instead of drama. Before we started tonight's satsang, this fell out the pack as I was shuffling it. And so we thought that was a good affirmation for tonight. I choose to see peace instead of drama. It works at all levels of life. Intimate relationships and the world as a whole. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We loved having your company, and we look forward to catching up with you. Well, those of you on Inner Space on Tuesday night, otherwise in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you all. Have a beautiful week further.
Sleep tight.